The corporate media's attacks against Joe Rogan have become lazier than ever.
This idea of like platforming people is a big one today. Why would you platform that person?
It's not enough to just complain that that guy got a platform and don't platform that guy.
But when even Jon Stewart has to come out and defend him, there's a deeper frustration in that dying old media that we need to talk about. Subscribe to Elites Exposed for more, and take a look at what he said.
John, you've been on Rogan a couple of times?
Yes.
What did you think of that experience, being on Joe Rogan?
I enjoyed being on Rogan. I think he's an interesting interviewer. That guy is a curious comic who fell into this thing that got f***ing enormous, maybe doesn't, has opinions all over the political spectrum, but has tendencies that people on the left does not fit the aesthetic. He's a hunter.
I mean, in fairness, he's had people on who are kind of Nazi curious. That's not good.
I've interviewed Kissinger. And he was carpet bomb curious.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. It's very easy to castigate those where we're but he had an opinion a few years back that's, corrosive.
But the difference is when he was carpet bomb curious, you didn't say, oh yeah, that's awesome. And what happens with Rogan sometimes is he'll hear somebody that's on the dangerous end of the spectrum, and he'll just kind of soak it in.
And I think this is a great point. And it's whoever job who thinks that information is dangerous to fight to get their point of view out there to counter what they think is misinformation. You can't just deputize people to say he should have known better and he should have prosecuted that point.
Now, I know Jon Stewart is being charitable to this guy here, but I cannot stand some corporate media reporter trying to gatekeep and lecture the podcast world about how those open conversations should happen. The whole reason the audience is flocking to people like Rogan is because of how decadent and discredited the corporate media has become. Besides, they don't even get it, do they? They think turning an interview into an interrogation and playing devil's advocate is the only way journalism works. But Joe Rogan flipped that upside down with long-form podcasts. Because I think there's something about simply letting ideas run their course and burn themselves out for 3 hours straight that not even an aggressive 30-minute interview can dig up. Not just that, I think the most practical way to understand a Rogan podcast with even controversial guests is as part of a whole panoply of interviews from that person. And after that, give the audience enough intellectual respect to be able to make up their own minds.
I don't have the audience that Joe Rogan does.
Then get it.
Yeah,
then find
get
people
it.
who do. Then go on that show. Then do those things. It's not acceptable to just say, well, I don't like what he does. Then do it better. Beat them at their own game. It's not enough to just complain that guy got a platform and don't platform that guy. There's no one in this world right now that isn't platformed. I love a good argument. I love differing points of view in all facets of things, but I also love grace. I've got people in my family that are to the right of Attila the Hun, and when people tell me how can you platform that person on your show, I go, I platform my uncle every Thanksgiving. And by the way, I love him. He's a three-dimensional human being who has qualities that I really admire. Things about him, and we've lost that. We've lost the ability to love people because we litmus test at every point.
Perhaps Jon Stewart saying this has some purchase with these corporate journalists, but at the end of the day, the writing's on the wall, isn't it? It's not like the mainstream media or cable TV is going to make a comeback if it just tweaks one thing here or there. The fact is, the entire format is dead. The entire industry is collapsing. Almost nobody from that old media world can survive in the wild west of online media anymore. What you're seeing now is the last death throes as it tries to frantically use the laziest of tropes about who to platform as a way to sling some mud at Joe Rogan instead.
It's interesting because you could put people in front of people and they might not even be right. They might be wrong. But at least now you're having conversations about something you would never have a conversation about before. And even if this person gets exposed as being incorrect, well, now you have a more nuanced understanding of what the subject is about and why people think incorrect things. And, this idea of platforming people is a big one today. Why would you platform that person?
First of all, platform is not a verb. And whenever they take a perfectly good noun and turn it into a verb, you know something bad is afoot.
Yeah.
Okay. Platform. Oh, you mean letting an adult human being talk?
Right.
I think that's not only allowed, I think that's the law.
Not only that, I think it's important for us. It's even important to talk to people that are completely different than you, that don't agree with you at all.
Isn't that the whole idea anyway? Why lay out a whole web of digital infrastructure only to then shut some people out of the conversation? Or maybe it's deeper than that, because for decades, the corporate media has basically served as an arm of the establishment to manufacture consent for their agendas. They either tell you what to believe or distract you enough that what you believe no longer even matters. I think Jon Stewart is just one of a handful of people who've made a successful shift away from the decaying corporate media onto the world of online digital media. And I'd count only a few other names in that category, including Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, Megyn Kelly, Piers Morgan, and that's about it. It's because these people understood that the true currency of trust in online media is authenticity. And if they refused to have the conversations people wanted, they'd be relegated to the dustbin of TV history like the rest of them.
And I would say this: don't leave, don't abandon, don't censor, engage. I'm not saying it's always going to work out fruitfully, but I'm always of the mindset that engagement, and especially with someone like a Joe Rogan, who is not, in my mind, an ideologue in any way. Oh, that's a person that you can engage with. But this overreaction to Rogan, I think is a mistake. I really do. And
do you think it gives him power to react in this way versus if you actually wanted to say something against his?
Joe Rogan has power because so many people listen to him. He has 4-hour conversations and they are expansive, and he may say some things that you think is misinformation, and he may platform people that you think are wrong, but to single that out as something so egregious as to have to be, I just don't. I think there are dishonest, bad actors in the world. And identifying those is so much more important to me. And I also think sometimes those grand gestures of, I'm removing myself, doesn't necessarily take into account.
And here's what it doesn't take into account. You can react to Joe Rogan platforming someone you don't like. You can even choose to look away and not engage. But you can't cover the ears of the 10 million people that tune into him every episode. At that point, you wouldn't be fighting Joe Rogan. You'd be fighting and giving away your true intentions to millions of people. And I think that's exactly why the mainstream media stands as exposed as it does today. But if you want to see what that looks like in action, watch my breakdown of when Kid Rock absolutely humiliated The View and Joy Behar for their lies, and subscribe to Elites Exposed for more.